This is the March episode of the Sponsorship Experts podcast with Paul Poole, the founder of the Sponsorship Experts and director of Paul Poole, Southeast Asia. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about SportsCred, our revolutionary marketing service, bridging the gap between athletes and sponsors. We'll also have an in-depth look at our Asia sponsorship news service. We will then look at sports tourism in Thailand and our community charity project, Show Me the Money. So let's get on with it. So here we are again for our monthly meeting and our monthly podcast for March.
Indeed.
Is that right, March? It is March, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes, it is March, yeah.
Jolly good. Okay, so we're going to start today, as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to cover some of the things that we could have covered last month, but the episode would have been 3 hours long. So we're going to cover those in this one. Going to talk about SportsCred, and it's not something we've talked a great deal about, and yet it's an exciting part of the business. So let's start by establishing, for those who haven't heard, what exactly SportsCred is.
Okay, well, SportsCred is a social media sponsorship platform which monetizes the social media of athletes, players, of clubs and teams.
Well, that was a short answer.
I thought,
but that's what it is.
That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, rewind and play it back if you need a reminder of what it was, because it's not a difficult concept.
It's really not.
All right, so how and why did you get involved in this?
Okay, well, during COVID, obviously no live events, so we pivoted towards digital rights, and we looked at influencers, and we scoured the platforms available and adopted SportsCred. So we bought the license for SportsCred here in Thailand. And we saw that although influencers are very popular here in Thailand, I think there was, I read somewhere recently, there's something like over 2 million influencers in Thailand currently. But they're lifestyle influencers, so they're influencers in general lifestyle. And we realized there are no sports influencers. So actually SportsCred really fills that gap. So we created our own private influencer network, so the Sponsorship Experts Private Influencer Network, where we signed up and continue to sign up pro and elite Thai athletes to the platform. It's free for the athlete to sign up. So we've been signing those athletes up, and we've also been putting the brands that we come across through our day-to-day work onto the platform so they can engage directly with those athletes.
Is there something uniquely advantageous in using sports influencers? Are they seen as more credibility?
Well, I mean,
credible?
Personally, I think they're more authentic and more credible. Yeah, I think they have more of a passion for what they're doing. So I think they have more credibility in the marketplace. Especially with their fans as well, with their own fans as well. So I mean that's another thing that SportsCred does. It actually doesn't just look at the size of the fan base, although that's important. It looks at the engagement and the trust levels of the influencer to determine the rate card value.
Authenticity.
So again, back to authenticity. Yeah. So it looks at the credibility and the trust. Trust is a key word here.
It's one of those things that I think, particularly lifestyle influencers, struggle to fake. They can rent the Lamborghini for a day and pretend that it's theirs, and they can borrow their friend's Gucci handbag and pretend it's theirs.
I think there's been a backlash in Europe and North America against lifestyle influencers because the authenticity isn't there.
Correct. It's
very much that people aren't stupid. People see the influencers, they know they're being paid to promote a certain product or a service. Where I think with athletes, they're passionate about the sport they're in, and they have that authenticity. Yeah. I should say, I mean, we use SportsCred in a different way than it was designed for. Right. We've created, because we're not a sports club, so we don't have athletes. So we've hacked the system, if you like, building our own club or team of athletes from all different types of sport. Yeah. But actually, it was designed really for football clubs. So it was actually designed that a football club would buy a license for SportsCred. On one side of the platform would be all the players of the football club.
Right.
On the other side of the platform would be all the sponsors of that football club.
Right.
So the football club sponsors could engage directly with the athletes and run campaigns.
Right.
So we've used it slightly differently. We also resell the licenses. So actually, we're working with a number of football clubs right now where we're building into their rights packages SportsCred to give more value and benefit to the sponsors.
So you're like the Uber Sports Club. In terms of the way that the system's being used, it was designed for one club to use with their players.
Correct, yeah.
Maybe there's not enough clubs of that size or stature here to be using it that way. And so you're giving athletes from lots of different disciplines.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually it plugged a gap for us, really, because we get asked often by athletes about our products and services.
Right.
And we don't really want to offer individual athletes our products and services.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, the athletes so the teams of the athletes have sponsors. The competitions those teams play in have sponsors. So actually, the athletes don't really have very much other their own social media to sell for themselves. Right. So we always, when an athlete ever approaches us, we always put them into SportsCred as our way of working with them, but just purely on monetizing their social media.
Interesting. Yeah. And so how does it work practically? Is this a manual process or a mixture of AI and expertise?
Okay, so an athlete would sign up. So we would send an athlete an invitation to sign up. They would create their profile, connect all their social media to the platform. They would also download the SportsCred app onto their phone. And that would then give the athlete their rate card. So the algorithm on the platform would work out their trust levels, their values. So even if they just wanted to know how much they were worth, they could see that from or how much their social media is worth. They would see that from doing that part of the process, and then they sit back and wait for brands to contact them. Similarly, every time we speak with a brand, if a brand says, "Look, we're interested in KOLs, we're interested in digital," we put them into SportsCred, and then they can engage directly with the athlete. So if you're a sports brand X and you're launching a new sneaker, you put your creative into the platform, you select your athlete, it tells you how much your budget is building by the rate card of the athletes. You click and select your athlete. The athlete then gets a ping on their app. Brand X would like you to do this campaign, share the campaign, accept or decline, so the athlete can say, "No, it's not a brand I like," or "Yes." It automatically happens. And then the brand pays the athlete directly, with a percentage being held back as a handling fee for us if it's through our network, or through the club if it's a license.
When you suggest this to them, what objections or assumptions do you have to correct?
I mean, I think I do believe, actually, not think, I believe that influencer marketing is very, very successful here in Thailand and across the region. And I think that a number of brands are using influencers extensively. It's about the authenticity of those influencers. Yeah. And also you need to be, it's like any celebrity endorsement, you have to be a little concerned about the reputation of the influencer. If the influencer does something that goes against your brand or goes against their audience, the backlash could be on you. So I think some brands, harness influencers very, very well. I'm convinced that athlete influencers really are the stronger influencers for all the reasons I said earlier.
I saw a story this morning. One of the biggest lifestyle influencers in the world has a clothing brand as well. I don't know if I can mention the name of the clothing brand. Just arrested in Dubai for massive amounts of drugs being found in their apartment. That's a risk if you use.
I mean, it's the same with all celebrity endorsements. You have to be very careful on which
the guy's looking at a 15 years.
Yeah. But the negativity, the backlash on the brand is terrible. So you have to be very, very careful with that. Here in Thailand also there are lots of influencer agencies, and it's interesting where the algorithm of SportsCred really gives a true value of followers and engagement trust, where most of the agencies here in Thailand, they seem to have a very inflated rate card.
Of course.
So actually SportsCred is very real in terms of rate. So yeah, there's lots of competition. I mean, I think some of the concerns when we're talking to brands about SportsCred, they have to do it themselves. So that they actually use the platform themselves as the brand, connecting directly with the athlete. Sometimes they prefer an agency to do that, and they can. I mean, we can put an agent in the middle to handle that. That's not a problem. But really, it's designed as a really easy solution. So brand A can connect with athlete A and run a campaign really very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think what are advertisers buying? They're buying eyes initially, so that number's the first number anyone's going to look at.
Yeah,
is how many people are looking at your stuff. The secondary point is, unless they're benevolent and want to get behind an athlete and support them in their career because they believe in that athlete, that's one way in. But the most common way is, okay, how many people you got?
Yeah, I mean, so the Sponsorship Experts Private Influencer Network, because we have so many athletes from all manner of sport on there, we have over 1 million fans following those athletes. So already, we this isn't a main focus of ours. This is very much a secondary service that we have. But 1 million. So a brand engaging with our network on SportsCred has access to over 1 million people. Yeah. But it's about the engagement as well. It's not, the way the influencers, you can really benefit from influencer campaigns is really from the engagement of those fans. And fans tend to be more engaged than the lifestyle influencers.
Well, the thing about the lifestyle influencers, they're disposable. They get 6 months.
Yeah.
And then they're last year's lifestyle influencer, or they're my older brother, older sister's lifestyle influencer, and that's sad. Yeah. Because but athletes have a career that, if they're good, is sustained for years, and they retain those fans, because athletes don't go out of fashion.
Yeah. On closing this part, the athletes we have are Thai, so they're all Thai athletes. They're pro or elite, and they're all above 18 years old. So they are what everybody wants, basically. So we have them already there, and we sign up athletes all of the time, especially when there are big games like the SEA Games are coming up towards the end of the year. We sign up more athletes. Brands that can't get involved in things like the SEA Games can get involved directly with the athletes competing in those games. So.
If you'd like to get in touch with Paul Pool Southeast Asia Co Limited, you can email us on info@paulpool.co.th, or you can go to the website paulpool.co.th, or you can call us on +66 2622 0605 through to 7. So moving on to the next thing, ASN, it's one thing that we've talked about quite often. And again, for those who've missed those episodes, let's have a quick recap about what ASN is and what it does.
Okay, well, ASN is a subsidiary of Paul Pool Southeast Asia. We took it over in September 2022. And ASN is a market intelligence service. So essentially it tracks all sponsorship across sport and non-sport across all of Asia. And it's a subscription platform. So we have free news. So anybody can sign up for the free news subscription. We provide news on a weekly basis. So there's a news story every day and a news wire that lands in your inbox every week. And you have access to an archive of around 5,000 articles. So you can really see what's going on in the marketplace across Asia. Obviously, we comment, so or ASN's insights on all of those articles. So it's a really good evidence-based research for your plans.
Right. I mean, would it be fair to characterise it as a, perpetually evolving, kind of up-to-date reference point?
Absolutely.
For anyone doing research into whether they should get involved in this,
absolutely,
this activity, this kind of sponsorship.
You'll see from the numbers over the last 2.5 years how much they've grown. So ASN has broad data on 9,000 plus brands, 3,000 plus rights holders. It has specific contact details for 18,000 plus sponsor decision makers in the brand directory, and I think around 9,500 rights holders in the rights holder directory. So it's forever evolving on a daily basis.
I mean, if you over the 10 years it's been going,
15
years,
plus years, yeah.
Over the 15 years plus that it's been growing, that's a lot of money that you've got for you to analyse and get a realistic opinion.
So ASN captures around $10 billion worth of spend a year. So over 150 billion in spend.
I mean, that's proper data, that.
So
that's money actually spent.
Yes,
data. Yeah. It's not projection. It's not speculation.
That's money that's spent. So essentially, if you take a premium subscription to ASN, if you're a rights holder, you put in your parameters into the platform, you say what you're interested in, so it will tell you who's spending what, why and where, how much they're spending. Quite often it tells you who made the decision and gives you the contact details of that decision maker. So it takes all the heavy lifting away from people selling rights on the sell side. From the buy side, if you're brand X and your competition is in Vietnam and you want to know what your competition is doing in Vietnam, it will tell you what where your competition is spending money, what they're spending on, how much they're spending, etc. So really it's a tool for both the sell and the buy side. So the subscribers that subscribe to ASN really are the bigger rights holders, lots of football clubs from Europe and leagues, and there's lots of agencies, a lot of North American agencies. So really it's a global platform, but focused on data and intel in Asia. So anybody with an interest in Asia, whether it's Asian money being spent in Europe and North America, or whether it's international money being spent in Asia, or Asian money spent in Asia, it's really the resource for intel in Asia.
If you're preparing a report for a CEO, thinking about doing this sponsorship, there couldn't be a better tool. So everything all in one place, right?
Just like, we said this in the last episode, we focus on evidence-based decisions. So this really is evidence-based decisions. So either intel from the news archive or daily news or weekly news, or the real numbers. But also if you're building a sales target, you have data compliant contacts. ASN also does other things, consulting and reports. Actually, most of the consulting manifests as a report. So we produce, or ASN produces, we Paul Southeast Asia sponsor the ASN reports. So we do syndicated reports every quarter. And those are free to premium subscribers, or non-premium subscribers can buy them. And we look at markets or sports or non-sport even, and actually produce ready-made reports, ready-made research.
So that'll cover the other elements, which we tend not to speak too much about, but we've got MICE, the arts.
So Paul Southeast Asia, our business is 80% sport, 20% non-sport, arts, entertainment and MICE. Right. ASN is 60% sport, 40% non-sport, so it's more of an even split, because it looks more at every sponsorship around the region. Right. And these reports that we produce, or ASN produces, cover those areas. Right. But also, if a brand wants ASN to produce this particular report, so we're actually doing some reports and some lead gen work for a couple of European football clubs right now here in Asia. ASN will produce a detailed report on a particular topic and lead gen. I mean, ASN's been looking at the contacts of those people that are sponsoring, qualifying the contact, ascertaining whether they're interested in the football platform that we were looking at, and it will set meetings up for that football team as well. So consulting reports, lead gen is very important to ASN. ASN is very much a DIY platform. The consulting is not. So if somebody doesn't have the resource to mine the data on the platform, ASN will do it for them through consulting and reporting. But ASN also offers training on how to use the platform, how to get the best out of the platform. So all previous subscribers get a certain amount of training for free within their subscription. But if there's more detailed or more broader training that needs to happen, ASN will do that.
Or if they change their commercial
correct, yeah,
director or whatever, they
correct.
Can continue to use it.
For example, the All of Asia analytics and directory comes with unlimited users. So if you've got users all over the world that can't sit in one training session, then we need to look at separate training sessions for them. So, but training is quite important to really get the most out of that that platform. And then finally with ASN, and actually this used to be a Paul Southeast Asia service that we moved over to ASN because it fits better within ASN, and that's rights evaluation. And we've done quite a lot of rights evaluation for venues and for big sports tournaments. And ASN's rights evaluation, or SPUR should I say, it really puts a monetary value on all the assets of an opportunity. So it really gives you a true and accurate rate card or rights fee for the biggest tier of sponsorship.
I mean, we did speak about this previously, and I think it's a really interesting area. I think the way I talked about it before was, I've got an event, how do I know what it's worth?
Yeah. So we've jointly worked, so Paul Southeast Asia has jointly worked with ASN on rights evaluations for our clients Bytec, Royal Bangkok Sports Club, and also Volleyball World when they first came in 23 with the VNL, where we had no idea how much this was worth. So it really gave us a true valuation to those rights, which and it's these are very big reports. But it's, if you're selling sponsorship at $1 million, $500,000, these reports make the decision easier for the sponsor buying in, because they can see how you came up with that price, rather than me and you sitting around and saying, how much do you think we can get for this? It tells you really what it's worth. So it makes the purchase of those rights quicker and smoother.
Right. And better informed.
Yep.
I mean, it's based on reality. It's not based on he thinks it's worth this and I think it's worth that.
Evidence-based decisions.
There you go.
If you'd like to get in touch with Paul Pool Southeast Asia Co Limited, you can email us on info@paulpool.co.th, or you can go to the website paulpool.co.th, or you can call us on +66 2622 0605 through to 7.
All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is sports tourism, and I'm just going to let you give forth on sports tourism because you know a lot about it.
Well, I'm not going to read the newsletter story because I know you get fed up with me reading things. So I'm going to allow.
How could you tell? How could you tell?
So I'm going to allow, basically, listeners should go to our newsletter and actually read the story, because it's very detailed and very interesting.
All right, so that's that done. What's next? No, I'm joking. Go on.
But we've actually talked about sports tourism a lot over the years in the newsletter. We've looked at individual cities within Thailand and across the region, but this year's particularly special. Thailand really aims to harness sports tourism this year, and the Amazing Thailand Grand Tourism and Sports Year campaign has been launched. It was launched by Thailand's Ministry of Tourism and Sports with the Tourism Authority of Thailand, and also the Thailand Convention Exhibition Bureau, TCEP. And we met him during the boat show.
We met the TCEP guy. He was really interesting. Great interview.
Yeah. So we we spoke with him at length about sport tourism, I think, and also the importance of MICE and the boat shows, etc. So the campaign aims to attract 40 million foreign visitors and generate 2.8 trillion Thai baht in tourism revenue this year. So it's an impressive campaign. Thailand just hosted the MotoGP, which is one of the key. I think there are 3 main events throughout the year that they're focused on in terms of sports. MotoGP being one, the FIVB Volleyball Women's World Championships.
An event that we know and love.
And an event we know and love because
I think the thing
we
about,
represent it.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about that is that you've been with that. I mean, we've alluded to it previously in the ASN bit, but I mean, you've been involved in that from when it wasn't anything here.
Yeah, I mean,
you must be pretty proud of what that's become.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I mean, to be honest, we can't take credit at all. I mean, it's really the power of volleyball. I mean, if we look at 10 years ago, volleyball wasn't top 10 sport.
Yeah.
I believe now volleyball globally is the 3rd sport in terms of fan engagement. It's the 4th sport in Asia in terms of sponsorship spend.
Amazing.
So it's become really very, very popular. Obviously, the women's Thai national team, super loved, super great, super engaged on social media to talk back about influencers. And in 2023, we were fortunate enough to work with the Women's Volleyball Nations League. 2024, we had the Women's Volleyball Nations League finals. And then we also have the Women's Volleyball Nations League coming back in 2026 and 2027. But this year is a very special year where we have this World Championship event happening in Thailand. 32 teams, 88 matches, 4 provinces.
Really big time.
It's huge. And if we look at sport tourism, actually, if we look at domestic sport tourism, not even international sport tourism, if you look back to last year and the year before, 8,000 people in the stadiums, sold out in 90 minutes.
Wow.
5 million Thai people tuning in on Channel 7 to watch all the matches. It's super impressive. And the World Champs this year is going to blow those numbers away. I think we're expecting over 200,000 people live in the stadiums watching this. So really, we're thrilled that this is one of the 3 sports that are highlighted in this campaign.
And do you know what? Its image is, it's like really wholesome.
Well, I think what's interesting...
It's exciting, don't get me wrong, it's exciting as a sport, and it's great to watch, and these are proper athletes.
Well, I think
the whole vibe around
I think equality is the key in volleyball right now. I mean, if you look at... we're focused on the women's game, because that's what our remit is within Thailand. But, the men and women earn the same money. So it's one of the few sports where the pay is the same, the prize money is the same. In fact, I think if anything, the women's game is actually bigger than the men's game, certainly in Asia. So actually, I think a lot of sports would love to have the same equality that volleyball has. So I think that's something really great. It's something that sponsors love as well. I mean, we'll talk in the next episode a little bit more about new sponsors coming on board that tournament. Right. But it's an easy, I don't want to say easy sell. Nothing's an easy sell, but it's an easier sell than other platforms because it's such a great sport and such a popular sport now.
And such a good vibe about it. Yeah, I like it a lot.
But Thailand's going to be hugely busy this year because at the end of the year, in December, we have the 33rd Southeast Asian Games coming to Thailand, which is a OCA event, so a very important...
It's always a big deal.
Huge. So that's also happening here. And of course, we can't not talk about all the buzz around an F1 event here in 2027. And actually, I genuinely think...
There are memes already, though.
I think this could... Yeah, I can imagine. I think this is very, very realistic. I think that Thailand is highly likely to see an F1 in 2027.
In Phuket?
Not in Phuket, in Bangkok.
In Bangkok.
Yeah. I believe they're now seriously looking at the Chatuchak area about building a street track in that area. And if you look at Singapore's a street track, so that they closed the city down for that race. To close a part of Bangkok is feasible. I can't remember when it was. I think it might have been back in 2016. They looked at F1 then. It was going to be around the Royal Quarter, around the Grand Palace, which would have been a beautiful backdrop. But I think that they've moved away from that area and now looking at other areas.
All right, and finally, we're going to talk about merch, but not like most podcasts talk about merch. We're not. Well, we are going to pitch. Buy some merch. That's it. That's the pitch. And we're going to talk about what the Show Me the Money merch actually is and what it means.
Okay, well, it really started as a bit of an in-joke.
Right.
Okay, obviously, one of the greatest sport films of all time, Jerry Maguire, was the inspiration. And the Laguna Phuket Marathon client, who we've worked with now for 20 years, they had on their phones the scene from Show Me the Money, from Jerry Maguire, right, where Jerry's screaming "Show Me the Money" as their ringtone when I called them,
right,
as a joke to the movie. So, inspired by that, we support youth development here in Thailand. So we donate money to youth development ourselves, Paul Pool Southeast Asia.
Important to mention all of the money.
All of the money, yeah. So we pay for 4 pieces of merch, or 4 different types of merch: hoodies, t-shirts, caps, and coolers. So we produce these products or merchandise. We sell them, and then 100% of the money that's recovered from the sale goes to those youth development programs. Right. And in the past we've done orphanages, we've done sailing, and different things. We've bought Little Optimists for the sailing club in Phuket. Right. We've supported disabled sailing, and we've also supported the orphanages from the tsunami actually in Phuket. So really, it's about it's not just about charity giving, about donations. It's about supporting programs that really give youth some development, so youth development programs. So yeah.
And I learned a long time ago that community participation is always a community result.
Yeah.
And this is a great example of that.
Yeah, well,
and nobody's making any money out of it.
No,
because you're paying for the manufacturing
correct.
fees.
Yeah.
The sale price is what goes to the charity.
And our payback is really we're doing something good. Our logo's on the merch, so we're a bit of a promo for us. Yeah. But really, we're just doing it as our CSR program. I mean, we're not focused on CSR. We're a commercial sponsorship and partnership marketing agency. Yeah. Most of the events that we work on are commercial events, even though a lot of them have charity or CSR sections to them. But we're not a charity company raising funds and for charitable organisations. It's our way of giving a little bit back to youth, so the future. We're looking at the future of the sports that we're representing. So we're investing in the future, really.
So as Jerry Maguire says, buy some merch and
show me the money.
All right, that's it for this month's episode. That's been great.
Thank you, Trevor.
And if you want to catch up on any of the other things that we've mentioned in more detail, I don't think there was much in this episode, but you can go back and listen to all of our podcasts in the past, and I'm sure that you'll find something that will interest you there. All right, that's it for this month.
Thank you, Trevor.
Seeking sponsors, seeking an opportunity to sponsor, looking to maximise an already sponsored opportunity. Visit paulpool.co.th, the sponsorship experts.